All right. Jumping on a few minutes early here. And okay, here I am. I couldn't get on last week. Had some technical issues, but here I am. People want to know what I'm doing. Right now, I guess I'm getting ready for Tomball, Texas. I'm leaving tomorrow for that and looking forward to it. Um, let's see what else is happening. Do a couple gigs down in Texas, and then I come back to Vegas. I'll be playing at the Tuscany Casino next Tuesday, and then it's off to Utah for a moment, for a few days. I have a couple friends that are getting married out there, and doing that, coming back, and then I'm going to spend some time with my nephew who's in town. I'll finally get to be able to do that, and that's about it. There's Renee. Hi, Renee. Um, let's see. For anybody want to know what's going on right now, I don't know what else to say. I know I say this all the time. So, this time last year, I was in the hospital. I was not aware of what was going on because I didn't know I was in the hospital. Um, and after I after I got out, after I woke up from a 2 weeks in the hospital, I was told I was in a hospital and had been there for 2 weeks and almost lost my life. Hmm. The strange thing is I would have never known had I just woken up and just there would have been St. Peter or someone there going, yeah, that's the thing. It made me think about death in a different way too. I have come close to death in many times. I think most of us have. We just don't realize it in a lot of cases. Some cases we when we do, but man, it's like a death is like that old snake in the grass. Sometimes you just never know how close you come to that snake without getting bitten. And me, I have come close many times, but this last one was yeah, that was an eye opener on the end of that. Once I did open my eyes, I realized death is just a moment. And, I sit there and live in fear of it. I don't want to go. I don't, I like life. So I have to learn how to adjust to life. I guess I'm not well equipped with that, but I've gotten the tools to be able to assess it when it's there, being life. When it's there, life is always there. When the bad moments are coming around and how to deal with it without reaching for anything, you know. Um, and that's learning to live again 101 there for you. Um, that I've been going through at least. I don't know what else to say on that behalf because I'd like to say, well, I know exactly what was going on to you, and I do, but I'm gonna slowly let you know because I don't like people to exploit what shame I already have and everything that I allowed that I did, and that um it was just a case where it all fell on me at once. And then when I woke up out of that mess, I had put myself into, realized the only way to continue in life healthy, healthier, mentally and physically, is to change my life. So I've been working on that. And ever since I've gotten out of the hospital, it's been one day at a time. I plan for tomorrow to put a goal in front of me, I guess one would say. Um, but the way I've seen it since I've gotten out of the hospital is I take it day by day, and I'm thankful when I wake up, and I'm thankful when I go to bed. I'm thankful. What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for everybody around me, the people I love. Um, I thank God. I pray for those people that I love. It's the way I see it. I dare not ask for anything for myself from any higher power. I completely humble myself to that because I just feel like I've been selfish enough in life. I don't want to ask for any more of that. But if I can hang on to the ones that I love and keep them protected, that makes my life happier. Um, I need the ones that I love and trust. It's very few in life. Anyway, without getting too personal on that, but I know you want me to, maybe, but that's about it. The best I can do with that. Look at my hands; they're sweating from talking about this. My armpits are sweating because I'm reliving a little bit of last year. And you're not supposed to live in that, but I mean, you learn from it, right? Um, anyway, so let's see. We have a few people on. Um, Barbara says she loves my music. Shut up and sing. I know what you're saying. Shut up and sing, Michael. I still got to learn all of these legalities and stuff of the internet. It's always changing, and I keep getting different rules from different social media sites, and they're always changing. So it's now getting to a point where I'm afraid to even mention names of other people, even if it's good stuff. They're not bad, but it's like showing even an advertisement on my shirt. I have to make sure because you never know. Right now, everybody's suing everybody, and people are offended on this on the social media. And I just get on here to let you know where I'm at. Um, let's see. Let's see. We have yeah, there's Rudy, and I want to see Rudy down there. And Rudy's coming to Tomball, but he's driving all the way from Odessa, Texas, and that is quite a drive. I learned every for the years I've been going down to Tomball, Texas, which is right outside of Houston. Um, I've been thinking Odessa, Texas, because I always see Rudy. I thought Odessa was right next door, and I guess in Texas that is next door, 9 hours away. But yeah, I love Rudy. Driving down, he always makes the trip down like it's nothing, and he's going to be bringing me some homemade tamales, I hear. So I'm looking forward to that, and seeing him. Let's see what else. When I came to Las Vegas and when I was 21, I moved to town and I'll share a little bit of this with you on when I moved to town and what was going on before I was on the TV show, because a lot of people would assume that I spent maybe, you know, uh, most of my 20s or so in Mississippi and Louisiana, but no, I moved out to Vegas when I was 21, and I never went back to Mississippi. I've been out in Vegas now longer than I lived in Mississippi. I thought about that the other day. I've been out here since 2000 or 2001. I can't remember. I know it's 21 I came, but I'm still blurry on that line. I can't remember. Um, but still, that's I spent 21 years in Las Vegas. Well, it's, I mean, 21 years in Mississippi and then come out here and spent 23, what is it? And now I'm officially a Westerner more than I am a Southerner. I don't know. I'm a Southerner at heart. Can take, it's the old saying, can take the boy out the country, right? But you can't take the country out the boy. And that's me. I am Mississippi and Louisiana at heart, but I do love the West. And when I came out West, I mean, I felt at home immediately. I went, oh, here's where I need to be. Nashville kicked me out when I was a teenager. I had a publishing deal with a company that I won't mention, with people that I won't mention because I'm afraid they'll come and sue me again. Okay, people with their lawsuits and stuff. Anywho, um, no, Nashville kicked me out, man. I tried it. I got in there, forced myself in, and they didn't like me, and they kicked me out. That's the way the business is. Learned the rough way, and then I was like, well, what do I do? Do I go to, now that I know I can't really do it in Nashville, I guess I could go back and try. I had people telling me, oh, don't even go back and try that again, because now that you've got those people's names behind you, you're ruined, is what one person told me one time. And I thought, well, yeah, but no, that's not going to stop me. But he, he had a point there. So I didn't go back to Nashville. I thought, well, Sherry, who was in the show Legends in Concert, and I was dating her, she goes, come to Vegas. And I'm thinking, well, what is Vegas? I mean, I'm an entertainer, but what does Vegas really have to offer for me? I mean, and to be honest, guys, I really wasn't certain what I who I was at the time, what I was trying to represent. I still don't, to be honest, but I know for the I know better today than I did then. I was a lost, I almost slipped there. I was a lost soul at that time. I didn't know my place, but when I moved out to Vegas, I realized my place pretty quickly within the first couple years, because they didn't have a lot of music from where I was at in Vegas, and that's that Gulf Coast, Mississippi, Louisiana Gulf Coast sound. I'd say Alabama too. That whole stretch between Mobile and Alabama and New Orleans, Louisiana, has its own sound and its own flavors and sounds. Boy, it's just a culture mix like crazy. And yeah, and it really is, guys. Down on the Gulf Coast, and you can think, well, that's way down south where all the prejudice is and racism. Well, I don't know. I guess racism and all that's around everywhere. But I think Chappelle said, well, down south they're just in your face a little more about they're a little more open about it. But the thing about the region I come from is that it is a true melting pot. Like, you go north of I-10, and that's totally different. That's more like country, redneck country. And I always pride myself in being redneck, but I'm a clod hopper, right? I'm from puddle jumpers, they call us, south of I-10. You know, we're from the swamps and all that, from between Mobile, Alabama, and Louisiana, New Orleans. All of that along that area is just a real mixture of cultures like you wouldn't believe. The people are so mixed in culture, they don't even know a lot of them. I hear, and I'm going to say this, I hear Garcias, in my region, right? We have a huge French and Spanish from the Spaniards, back when the Spaniards came in, like names from that era along the Gulf Coast. And Garcia is one of the Spanish names. But, the culture's so mixed in with the French and and Irish and everything else. And then you get some of them going, well, I'm not a Garcia, I'm a Garcia, but it's spelled the same. It's spelled the same, though. They're going, no, that's those Spanish people. I'm a Garcia. And okay, well, so be it. I love how we do that with Ladners, which is another French name on the Gulf Coast, Ladner. I think it's pretty much only known down in that region. Highly unlikely you're going to find a Ladner anywhere else outside of that region. Highly. It's not impossible, but they would be a transplant more than likely. And I say Ladner because if you're on the Louisiana state line, Mississippi side, it's Ladner. If you head more towards the Alabama line, it's Ladnier, but it's the same family. Uh, Came in through this guy, I believe his name was Christian Ladner or Ladnier. I might be wrong about the last name there. It may not be Ladnier or Ladner. I know it was one of those French, and his name was Christian, which is what we named Past Christian after, or something like that. I don't know. But the culture is just so thick in that. And coming out here and getting to Vegas, I realized that people didn't know the culture where I was from. I was talking to everybody. I'm like, you don't know this? And then for the very few people, like mostly entertainers and musicians, would understand some of that music from that area. Um, and But nobody was doing it. So there were a few people doing it, and but nobody was like bringing in like really swampy. And I was trying not to let it be too folk like, that'll prevent me from getting work. So I'd play a lot of stuff like the Neville Brothers and their other version, the Funky Meters, and Dr. John and those sorts of grooves out of the New Orleans funk sound. And I noticed that when I was playing that, it wasn't done out here in Vegas, and people were responding to it, and they would come out to hear me in my band for those reasons. That was in the very beginning in my 20s. When I moved out here, let me go back. When I moved out here with Sherry, and she introduced me to a couple of people. One was an agent that I was going to get some work through, and then she introduced me to Nikki Logan. Said, "Well, Nikki needs a guitarist," and then I went and played guitar for Nikki Logan. Very intimidated by her, by the way, and I was very, wet behind the ears. I was new to town, and I really never considered myself a lead guitarist. But I played lead guitar for Legends in Concert prior to that, you know. And then I figured, well, just do the same thing, learn the signature licks and stuff for this girl Nikki, and go and play with her in her band, and and I played for her for a moment, and then I got my own band. I remember with Ricky Rohr, Jamie Townsend, Mike Meacham, and me. Now, in the very beginning, it was a man named Tex Richardson. I remember Tex, um, the late Tex Richardson. He was very talented, very extremely talented, great pianist, great vocalist. Um, he was to be the original member, and I don't remember what happened. I think somehow it wound up being Jamie in the band, and Jamie was kicking left hand bass on the keys, and we got this gig at the La Piazza Room at Caesar's Palace. And I think it was like 6 nights a week, even something like that. And that was my first gig I remember landing. That one lasted a couple years, I want to say. And it was really neat. I went, okay, well, that was right when I got into town. I was a lounge band. And everybody was telling me, Michael, don't do the lounge thing. Don't go out there and become that I understood what they meant by that because you can easily fall into the scene, but I don't in that way, but I don't know. That takes a certain it's different. I'm different. Other people are different, and how they come to town and perceive Las Vegas, it's interesting because I did become a lounge singer and very proud of it. You know, I was almost wanting to make the lounge lizard my logo. Um, but I wasn't that hey, you kids, where you from guy. But that's what you typically get in your mind, right? Of the lounge singer in Vegas. No, but I was playing all my own songs and doing it my own way for the agents and entertainment directors that would hire me. They knew what they were hiring, and they knew I knew how to play the other songs to get the gigs too. And it was my goal to keep people coming out, but at the same time, I didn't want to sell out so much with all these songs everybody else does. So I tried to do my own. If I liked it, was able to sell it, then maybe others would like it too. And it worked. And it worked. And I wound up years later, like a couple years later, after the Caesar's Palace, this early 2000s, I landed a job at I was working in many places with the band that I was with, and it transformed a little. Mike Meacham stayed playing drums with me for a long time there. We worked at got a gig at the Big Apple bar. It used to be a bar at the New York casino on the strip. And I played there for a good few years at least, maybe more. I'd have to go back, and it felt like a long time because I was there 5, 6 nights a week, sometimes doing doubles in this lounge. But it was a really cool lounge because you're right in the heart of the MGM casinos on the strip, very high tourist area, and it's a high stage behind the bar, but above, so you're above everyone, and it was a really fun place to play. I had a lot of great memories. Mike Meacham playing drums. We had Daryl Williams on bass guitar, man. Oh God, that was great. Dave Hart on lead guitar. That's when I met Dave and through Mike Meacham. Mike was hooking me up with these people that I got to meet. And God, don't let me forget everybody, but Jim Trippy was also, he fell in there sometime. I met Jimmy playing at the House of Blues one night. He came in and he was new to town, and we just became brothers instantly. I just gave him my axe and said, "Play. You want to play the rest of the night?" Because Jimmy has a master's in music, and it's in drumming. And I didn't know he was a drummer. He just was always a guitarist to me, and one that I really admired. I loved his guitar playing, such a soulful singer and guitarist. Then I got to play with him for years. And then during my 20s, man, I'm telling you, Las Vegas that was a very fun moment in my life. And if I could go back in time and do it all over again, it would be my 20s. It would be all the way up till I was 30. Then I would say, no, I wouldn't want to do that again. Or there's things I would definitely have changed. But everything I did up through my 20s, man, I mean, the good and the bad, it wasn't so bad with the bads, but I would go and redo the 20s. That was a fun time. Playing the Big Apple bar through the years there and getting that was a place where people like, you know, I don't know. It was a place where those can come around to get to know me. I worked with Lenny Lopez for many years in that band. I say many years. He was with me for many years. We worked together. And Lenny played percussion So I had a drummer, I had Mike Meacham, and then Lenny. It was so cool because we called it the junkyard. Lenny always called it the junkyard. But he'd bring his congas and bongos, and he'd have the whole setup. And he's a great percussionist and an excellent angelic singer. Like, makes you want to cry singer, like a real heartfelt, emotional MFer. This guy, man, I love Lenny. Um, and we worked, yeah. And then Lenny's brother Jerry would come in, and I got the honor of having Jerry. I don't know why he wanted to play lead guitar with me, other than just want to play with me for one time, and that was really freaking awesome. Got to meet all the guys of Santa Fe during my 20s. It was really awesome time. I'm leaving out a lot of things. Before I got that gig, though, I will tell you this story, and I'll conclude it on this because I'll pick up the next time on on Vegas. I don't want to get too far into this before I want to make sure I'm hitting some key points. But one of those key points that I'm missing out here on telling you is when I first came to town and I didn't have any jobs yet. That first year, it was difficult. And I got a job at a place which no longer exists here anymore. It was called the Greek Isles. I don't think it exists anymore, but I heard it's gone or it's changed. Um, and let me see, I was working in a tribute show that was in the main room called the Debbie Reynolds Theater, named after Debbie Reynolds. And I got offered a job to play in the lounge in the small little, I mean, like it was a dive casino hotel. But the casino hotel, it was a small little room, one you like the size of about a cigarette smoking room in an air terminal, like the size of one of those with some slot machines in it in Vegas, right? And just about as smoky. And and I remember I was working there like 6 hours a night, and really paying my dues, and paying my dues. And I remember this one guy kept coming around, and he was the collector for the money for the agent that was booking me at this place. And one night, and he always tried to intimidate me. And then I'm sure I've told this story in some ways sometimes. Anyway, but one night he said something to me. He said, "Well, he said." I told him I got tired of him intimidating me, and I don't remember what I told him, but I just said I don't want to work here anymore, and I'm done with this, um, because he kept coming in and going, well, I'm getting complaints, complaint, and I really wasn't doing anything but my job. I was sitting up there just playing guitar and singing, sometimes to the point where I didn't even turn on the PA at all. I was just singing, just acoustically full, just and getting complaints. So I just told him I was done. And he said to me, he says, well, if you ever mess around this man who was the agent, right? He goes, you'll never work again in this town. And I looked at him, man, and I thought to myself, really, you going to use that line? You know, man, okay. Well, it's time to just swallow my pride up right there. Why would I have any? I'm nobody. I'm just new to town also. But he said, well, if you leave tonight, you won't get paid if you leave now, whatever. I completed the gig out that night, and then I left. And for years, I just stewed on it like a chip on my shoulder. I couldn't get it off my shoulder, like, and and I was sitting. I remember I was just sitting with pen and paper, and I thought to myself, well, just write out the way you feel, just vent it on the way you feel, and maybe you'll get it out. And that's what I did. And I wrote a song about it. And I won't say what name that song is, but it is the name of the person or a version of his name. Um, we can do it that way too. But that's one of my redheaded stepchildren songs that I once in a while revisit for the sake of others who know it. And yeah, you're probably wanting to know. If you want to know, ask me on the side, I'll tell you. until until I know I'm in a complete clearance, that nobody's gonna come and sue me. Oh, so many people suing everybody these days. Anyway, that's when I first came to Las Vegas out of Mississippi. So, um, yeah, let's see. Well, and I hope to everybody that these stories help and in some way maybe getting to know me, like the way things have played out for me and the way I kind of view life. And believe me, it has got a lot of thought behind it, especially as of late. I have been rethinking and re-strategizing, trying to find a nice firm path to stay on. I have a lot of friends that are there to, I say a lot. I don't. I'm very blessed. But I have a lot of good people in my life, and my friends that are close to me, they're there to show me the path and keep me on it. And boy, I am not to let them down, you know, be letting myself down and everyone else. So a year later, here I am, and I call it the rebirth of or resurrection, really a rebirth. And I joined Jimmy Trippy on this rebirth moment in our lives, and can't wait to get to Tomball and see everybody. So, all right, Papa Do's, here I come, and yeah, I think that's about all I have today, guys. I know I haven't been on here but 30 minutes at best, but um, I'll get back on when I get back. Let me see. Maybe next Wednesday, I'll see you. And after, after I get back from Utah, then things will settle down a bit and I'll be able to get on some of these other fun projects that I've got myself doing, keeping myself busy day to day and inspired by everybody out there. Thank you. And I love you all. Love you, Gail, Barbara, Marlene. Thank you, Renee and Renee. All right. I'll talk to you all later. God bless.